Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff podcast, where we talk everything Star Wars. My name is Matt.
I'm Brooke.
I'm Colin.
And I'm David.
The first one we wanted to talk about was we were going to be mentioning and just reflecting on the news that we got really late last night about the passing of David. What did I say? I almost said
David
Probst.
Prowse. Yeah.
I almost said Probst because that's not his last name. But David Prowse, who, as we all know, was the actor behind the role that is Darth Vader in the original trilogy.
Yeah, the report was he was 85 years old and he was going through cancer, but the report was that he passed away due to an illness. So,
Okay.
he was 85 years old. I know he had health conditions. He was doing memorabilia and signing autographs all the way pretty much up until now. But he was the original man in the suit. He was Darth Vader for all three original trilogy films. And
he thought he was the voice of him too.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
He thought he was the voice for a while.
Till he saw it.
Yeah. That clip of him yelling like under the suit is one of the funniest things, because if James Earl Jones didn't come on, it would just be this British guy just yelling underneath the.
Yeah.
He was like borderline German the way he like yelled at people.
Yeah.
That was like interesting.
Yeah.
I also found it really interesting that the actor for the original Darth Vader was a bodybuilder / weightlifter, and I'm like, yeah, he packed it underneath that suit. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a short podcast. There was really nothing that happened this week. Yeah.
well,
Guys,
something happened
right,
this week. Something happened this week.
This past week, Ahsoka Tano made her live action debut.
And she was beautiful.
It was awesome. We really didn't know what to expect. And some questions were answered, and a lot of new ones were made.
Heavily anticipating seeing Ahsoka Tano in live action. And I was wondering leading up to it if I was going to feel the same way that I felt with like a movie release. But I didn't feel that way, that specific exact way. It was a whole like different kind of anticipation feeling. And I was kind of scanning like social media and online hype, and it was there, but I mean, it wasn't really known to everyone that she was going to have her live action debut.
Right.
Because people like us, I mean, of course, I mean, we figured it out. I mean, Dave Filoni wrote and directed the episode, and it's his only episode apparently. And of course, Bo-Katan says we're going to find the Jedi named Ahsoka Tano. And so we kind of anticipated it. And yeah, I was just really, really anxious to see how the actor, we all kind of predicted and talked about it months ago that Rosario Dawson was going to play Ahsoka Tano. And I was just very I wasn't super nervous, but I was just kind of anxious to see how she would translate in live action. And I think they nailed it. I think Rosario Dawson pulled it off. Once I saw her face at the very beginning, I was like, yes, she looks awesome.
Yeah,
And just that beginning of the episode was a great kind of like Bond movie opening.
Yeah.
All the action, the white sabers looked awesome.
Yeah.
That was a strong opening. I thought like her appearance would kind of be dragged out, but it was like within the first couple of seconds of them actually showing the episode of the actual like new stuff.
Quick.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting more of a like dramatic reveal rather than her just like literally just being like, whoop, there she is. I didn't necessarily dislike it, but it kind of caught me off guard. Like I was like, oh crap, like it's happening. Like here it is. Right
Yeah, I was
away.
still adjusting in my chair. I was like, all right, let's do this. Wait a minute. I'm missing things.
So yeah, I was like really
I thought it was
tired.
really interesting. Go ahead.
Okay, Matt?
What?
No, I was glad that I did not stay up because of because of we both woke up at 6 a.m. and I know some people stayed up
Yes.
until like 2 and 3 a.m. when it got released, but
Yeah.
I couldn't do that because I knew afterwards I wouldn't be able to sleep. So I'm glad we didn't do that. But in this episode, we got some closure on what Baby Yoda's name is.
Yeah, I was not expecting, like, that was not even on my radar of something that was going to happen. And then she, like, just kind of, like, mentioned it casually, and I was like, what did she just say? Excuse me? Like, what?
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I think they said that they knew what his name was like in season 1, but they didn't have a plan on when to do it. So I think this episode was perfect, and
Mhm.
and everything makes sense now of how he's not speaking like with words, but if there's another force user, then he can communicate with them, which is pretty cool. But the fact that he was in the Jedi Temple during the Clone Wars, and that he had different Jedi Masters. Uh, what that really surprised me. And then now we have another mystery. Apparently, a Jedi or a figure took him from the temple during Order 66. And something that I'm leaning towards is that it could be Joe Costanu. She was the lie. She was the lie. Yeah, she was a librarian,
Okay.
and and only a handful of Jedi that we know survived. So she is a big possibility. I don't know who else could it be. I mean, for some reason, if we watch Kenobi and we see like a flashback scene of Yoda and Obi-Wan like finding him in the Jedi Temple, I think that would be crazy. But I don't think it. Like, I mean, and then there's also Mace Windu too. Um, that seeing him come back in live action would be super cool. But again, who knows?
The incredible fact was the name Grogu actually leaked online in 2019, and
Oh, it did.
Oh, it did?
yeah, it did
I'm so glad it didn't
that
do
long ago, but a lot of people didn't take it seriously. But the thing that should have kind of tipped us off was when it leaked, it immediately got erased, but a bunch of other rumors stayed up online, so that should have been like the
I
most
didn't
telling
even hear
aspect of
that.
it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
He shut it down.
Who was the person that leaked it?
I think it was a Redditor. It was on Reddit, and it
Okay.
got deleted by Disney or their lawyers or whatever. But I remember Bob Iger kind of famously talking about the fact that he knew the name, and I think it was in 2019, and a few other people knew the name. And I kind of wondered if it was going to leak. Apparently it did. And a lot of other information about this episode actually leaked. And
Huh.
I wasn't quite sure if it was true or not. It felt legitimate because a lot of other sources gave the same kind of information about this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be leaks out there, so just be careful if you don't want to know any information like that in the future.
Yeah. When you on I believe on Thursday night, I saw you post saying that people were leaking stuff already, and I was curious, and I would try to look for the leaks and stuff like that, and I didn't see anything. So I
Well,
I just guess it just depends on where you're looking, but I was surprised I didn't see any leaks.
yeah, it really depends on where you're looking. My original source that I had for the sequel trilogy, he kind of stopped talking about Star Wars, and his buddies started talking about it, and it seems like they have now the same sources he did. So apparently
Okay.
they're legitimate now, but there's actually
passed the
another
torch.
source. Yeah, there's another person who just says everything, and this is one of the things he mentioned. And it felt like there was like really 5 major things happening in this episode that were kind of really spoilerific that actually made it online. So
What name?
Yeah. And the um in this episode there was also a lot of Clone Wars references, My favorite one was probably when she talked about Master Yoda, and then you could hear his famous theme play for like a second, and I love that.
Yeah,
I
that was
got chills on that.
masterfully woven in by Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah, yeah, and the other part where she refuses to train him, and she said that she has seen um this kind of attachment happen to a full Jedi Knight, and she's talking about Anakin, and that also got me. It was like, oh shoot. And I think that in Kenobi, if we don't get some type of flashback scene, I'll be disappointed. Because of just seeing Ahsoka, I could just imagine her being next to Hayden as Anakin, and all that stuff. And I think it's going to be phenomenal. Um, and a lot of people don't know this, but right now, uh, it's a high possibility that the Ahsoka show will happen, and this was kind of like our sneak peek of it, and some could say that this might be like the pilot, um, uh, uh, because of at the end of Rebels, she is looking for Ezra, and then that big reveal, which if you watch halfway through the episode, I mean, like near the end with a big fight scene and stuff, and you see the droids, which there was also a lot of Star Wars old Republic Easter eggs in this one too. On one of the droids, if you look on their head, it's got the symbol of Thrawn. So I think that soon we'll get our live action appearance of Thrawn, and that's also going to be huge too, because of he jumped from Legends to canon, and the books, and then he made his appearance in Rebels, which back then that was huge. So seeing him in live action too would be amazing. Yeah.
Who do you think's going to play him?
I'm hoping the actor who actually voices him, because he did a phenomenal job in Rebels, and if you put some of the makeup on him, I think they could pull it off.
But does he have the cheekbones? That's always important.
I think he does.
It's got the cut blades with that.
Yeah.
Cheekbone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was funny when we were at 2019 Chicago Celebration, they unveiled that huge banner.
I remember that.
We were looking at all the characters, and at the very end was Thrawn, and he looked exactly like Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. For some reason, James got super excited about it. He's like, dude, it's him. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, yeah, I see it, but why? And we still have no idea to this day. But I guess the person that made that just kind of pictured some of the characters that were animated and what they would actually look like if they were played by real people. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So yeah, there is actually precedence for them kind of drawing in a familiar actor and not casting them in live action. If you go back to the Gunslinger episode, if you look at the concept art and you look at Toro Calican, that's Orlando Bloom's face on Calican.
Oh.
Of course he wasn't cast.
That would have been that would have been like, whoa.
I would not have liked that.
No. So we also get to see the Beskar in like its full like defense mode, and then at the end of the episode, now Din Djarin has like so many accessories. Now he has a giant spear made out of Beskar, and I think that that's a hint that he's going to face off with Moff Gideon. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good theory.
Yeah.
The fact that it's pure Beskar actually makes it stronger, right?
Yeah.
So in the middle of the episode, when Din encounters Ahsoka Tano, he actually like plays defense against her white blades. And so does that mean that Din Djarin has pure Beskar armor?
Oh, true. Well, I mean,
doesn't he?
Well, I'm just trying to think if it matters if your armor is pure or not. Like,
Right.
either way, I think it can still block it. I may be wrong, but I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, because I was
True
thinking
or
about the
not.
science behind it, because I know in that Gunslinger episode he talked about taking a direct blast by Fennec Shan's sniper rifle. At that distance, he wouldn't get killed. So I was thinking, okay, so was a blast stronger than a lightsaber? I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but I was wondering if you guys knew.
No, not that I'm aware of. I, but for the people that don't know, the Mandalorians made their armor so they could defend themselves from lightsabers during like the great like wars between the Mandalorian and the Jedi. So I think I think it doesn't matter if you have peer or not. I think that it can block it no matter what.
Right.
There is more than one type of Star Wars substance that can deflect or is lightsaber resistant in terms of materials.
That would be
Like
the
we
vibro
saw
blade, right?
in, there is Beskar, there
Yep.
is the Aura Blast, which is the shelling we saw on the that one giant monster in Clone Wars. Is that
The Xylo Beast, yeah.
yeah, it's got that shelling. There's also another beast with an amphistaff. This is according to Star Wars fandom. These different materials. There's cortosis, and then I think something called a freak, spelled PHRIK. These are like all resistant to lightsaber, like direct hits. So like it doesn't necessarily have to be Beskar or even Mandalorian iron in general. It could be any one of those things that he could also be sporting on his armor. So that's just what I had to think about, because I was like I said, Beskar is really rare. So like the idea that a non-Mandalorian having it, or non-Imperial, just sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was weird that that lady got her hands on a full length like Beskar staff like that. I was like, I want to know where she got that.
Yeah,
like, there's got to be a story behind. Like, did she steal it, buy it, kill somebody for it?
I think that I think back during the day when like the Empire was at full, I think that she was I think she was under the command of Thrawn, because of like they talked about like them kind of plundering worlds and taking stuff from different planets, and I could see her during the purge of Mandalore, where the Empire like went back and then they actually like took over Mandalore. So I could see her at it. I love the fact that that person's backstory is from the Clone Wars. I love that the Clone Wars keeps getting mentioned in live action. I love that so much. But her character is interesting. The actress that played her, she's a stunt woman. I don't know the name of her, but she has done a couple of like large action movies.
Yeah, she looked really familiar to me. I couldn't really place her. But yeah, you're right. She was a stunt performer. I know she's done stuff on like Alita Battle Angel. She was a famous double for someone else. I'm trying to remember. I think maybe it was Lucy Liu in Kill Bill. But I do know that she is actually the goddaughter of Bruce Lee.
Oh.
So yeah, she's martial arts royalty. But yeah, I mean, she held her own against Rosario Dawson, and it did look like Rosario Dawson did do a lot of her own stunts, and it looked really good.
Yeah, seeing all that lightsaber action live action was amazing. Because of I so with the sequels, it was cool, but I feel like we could have got a lot more like really good lightsaber action, and that's what this episode was. Like I mean, I loved every second that her blades turned on, and
They look so good too.
yeah.
I got really excited when I heard them because I have her lightsabers from Galaxy's Edge. And so as soon as they ignited and I heard it, I was like, oh, it sounds the same. Like, it was probably dumb, but I was like, I got excited because I was like, I know that sound.
And it's those exact lightsabers.
To have a duel.
Yeah. I do. I have those exact ones.
You have the proper length of both the blades,
Yeah.
right?
I don't.
Oh, wait,
no,
no.
because I bought the.
Isn't one of them?
Because I'm kind of on the shorter side, so I just bought 2 of the shorter length blades. They said
Okay.
technically I should have had the longer one for her, bigger one, but because like it was like dragging on the ground when I was holding it, I was like, for my personal purposes, I just bought both of the shorter ones, and so like it still looks like one's a little longer because one of the blades is longer. So like when I hold them, it looks a little bit, but it's not as drastic as it technically should be.
Yeah.
I was just really happy to see that we got to have kind of a lightsaber duel, even though there was only one character with a lightsaber. They managed to find a way to have them duel without. This is very unorthodox in terms of like our duels between lightsabers, because we've never seen a lightsaber against another like weapons such as like the Beskar spear that can actually like hold its own. Like if you like came at him with like a regular sword or anything like that, it would get sliced in half. But
We
is different.
You kind of see it a little bit with Finn and that stormtrooper.
And we also saw it in the Last Jedi where they're fighting.
I was talking about the Mandalorian, but okay.
I was like, Matt, come on. And something else that I thought was cool is that scene where, I mean, people who aren't like watching our actual video can't see what I'm doing. I mean, but with the actual lightsabers where she had them like that, and then she like turned them on.
Yeah, she's like, how do you slow down the ignition of the blade like that?
Use the force.
I thought. Fair enough.
For dramatic effect.
Yeah. No, she really did a phenomenal job, and I was waiting to see if Ashley Eckstein would end up posting something on the day of it, but she didn't, and she posted something on the day after. And it looks like everything is okay behind the scenes. I'm just hoping that like we do see some type of forum, like when they do like the second season of the Gallery of the Mandalorian, that we do see her maybe on set on that day, maybe kind of talking to her, coaching her, because I just don't believe that Dave Filoni would not tell her. I think that's crazy.
It just seems kind of odd, especially since they brought in, I don't know her name, but the actress who voiced Bo-Katan literally brought her in to play her.
Yeah.
To just not even reach out to Ashley Eckstein. That just seems a little odd to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And she made that formal kind of announcement that she wasn't involved whatsoever. But yeah, I'm not expecting her to have actually been involved at all, which, yeah, I do agree. That is kind of odd and out of place. But yeah, it was Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, I mean,
and she did a great job.
Right. And for Ashley Eckstein, she is the one that brought this character to life. Like, we would not be seeing live action Ahsoka Tano if it wasn't for Ashley Eckstein. She just brought that character from the 2008 Clone Wars, where, you know, when the movie first came out, a lot of people didn't like that character. So many people did not like her because
I don't think anyone liked her.
No,
and she was a whiny kid, like
yeah,
whiny kids. But I think it was so cool to like watch her just age and grow and mature and turn into the character we see in the end. So
right.
That's just really cool to be able to see someone develop that way.
Right. And some people, and for the people that are listening, if you haven't yet, I recommend watching Clone Wars and Rebels, because some people are just getting introduced to Ahsoka through The Mandalorian, and that is great. But if you want that full effect of like how great this character is, please watch Clone Wars and Rebels, because of her journey is amazing, and her story is phenomenal. So I recommend watching both shows because they're fantastic, and Ashley Eckstein is a wonderful voice actress.
I just rewatched that episode where Ezra goes into that Jedi temple and does that thing to Ahsoka, you know?
Does the thing.
No? Yeah. I'm not saying anything. And which version of Ahsoka Tano is your favorite throughout her entire life? Because for me, I really want to say like season 7 Clone Wars. I feel like that for me is like the most like impactful and powerful version of Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah. I would say that, and then like Rebels Ahsoka as well, because I just think it's so cool that she kind of like joined the rebellion, like that she like went from like fighting in the Clone Wars to like fighting against the Empire. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And the fact that she has survived through so much stuff that has happened in like the Skywalker saga history, from the Clone Wars, from Order 66 to the Galactic Civil War. I think that and then on top of that, she actually is alive during the sequel trilogy, because of Dave Filoni announced that she was alive during the Rise of Skywalker. So I think that
she wasn't there.
Well, I mean, you heard her voice like through the Force. So I think that it's crazy, like how large of a part that she's played, like in Star Wars history. And not only her, I was just thinking about, like, she's not the only Clone Wars character who's done it. There's also Hondo. He has been alive since the Clone Wars, and we know that he's alive like during the events of the sequel trilogy as well. So I think that's also interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, he's kind of weird to me.
Okay.
That's just me. I don't see the appeal.
No.
He's just kind of like a comedic character, but I'm not like a diehard Hondo fan. I don't know.
And then something else that that we learned too, which I thought was really interesting, but apparently Grogu and Anakin were born on the same year. Take that as you will, but apparently that's true.
The same age, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you think about that, the developmental process of his species is extremely slow. So I'm like, imagine at the age of 17, he's like infant level, but he's in the Jedi temple.
Yeah.
How do you even? I can't train a baby. What do you want me to do with this?
And something else that I found interesting too is that I heard about this, but it's kind of like the theory from Harry Potter, where Neville and Harry were born on the same year, and the prophecy was a child that was born in that year would end up.
Actually, it was in like a couple days, like their birthdays are a day apart.
Oh, okay. Okay, well.
I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so take.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess the person I heard was not right. But
nice.
Like,
yeah.
I think the prophecy was like late summer.
Okay.
Because their birthdays, was it June or July?
Oh,
and so literally, yeah, it was basically gonna be one of those two.
Yeah, and I mean, and the person that I heard, which makes sense why now that that's not true, but they said that it was kind of like that, and I didn't take it as that. I was like, I think that's kind of a stretch. I don't think that Grogu is the chosen one, and that's what this person was implying, and I was like, probably not. But what you just said makes more sense now. So again,
anyways, it's actually the second like Harry Potter like connection that I've seen someone try to make. I read something, like, I don't really think this has any merit, but I think it was a TikTok. I watched a TikTok.
I know what you're talking about.
Was like, if the Darksaber was following the same rules as the Elder Wand. So like the Elder Wand basically, like, if the person who like if you have the Elder Wand, you are its rightful owner. It won't work for anyone else unless you are disarmed or killed. So if you like follow the chain, so like, oh man, what was it? So Maul had it, and then
Ahsoka and Darth Maul fought.
Ahsoka and Darth Maul fight, and she defeats him in battle. If it was by the same rules, she would technically be the Darksaber's owner.
And the rightful ruler of Mandalore.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that that's like what they're doing, but it was an interesting comparison to think about.
Yeah, but I
find it right.
Well, no. So the way that works is that you have to for example, the way that Darth Maul became the ruler of Mandalore, like technically is because of he's like, I challenge you to combat for
it
the
was pre-Vizsla, right?
Yeah.
The challenge who had it before.
Right.
So basically what you're saying is it's more of a formal, like you must kind of initiate the battle, and not just like a simple, like if you get disarmed or
Right. It is
a little
like
more strict than the Elder Wand.
it is like going to a car and sitting in shotgun and not calling shotgun. I mean, that's probably like
I'll punch you in the head. You do that.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, that is probably like the best way to describe that, and that whole like thing is really interesting, and it's so cool how deep like the lore for Star Wars goes. But yes, you're right. So if those were the rules, then Ahsoka would be the rightful ruler. But Ahsoka, wants Bo-Katan to be the ruler.
Right.
And all this time, like that dark saber, that really was like the symbol of leadership for the people in Mandalore. Which now, if we're going into that kind of lore, it's kind of like in The Hobbit, where the person that has the heart of the mountain, the Arkenstone, like then that person is the leader. So I mean, it's just kind of on the lines of that.
We're going deep in the nerddom here.
I know, but you're the one who brought it up.
You brought it up.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that Ahsoka and I think something I would love to see would be Ahsoka versus Moff Gideon. I think having a full lightsaber fight in The Mandalorian would be pretty cool, and seeing the dark saber like in live action, like in full lightsaber action would be amazing. And the dark saber sounds like super cool too. Like when it moves around, it's not like that normal lightsaber sound. So hopefully by the end of the season we like see some type of form of that. I think that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, I do think you're right that it's going to be Din Djarin with the spear going up against Moff Gideon.
Yeah,
that would make the most sense.
Yeah. So Michael Biehn shows up, and we talked about him months ago being cast. So he's a gunfighter, and it's just another kind of casting where if Star Wars never ended after Return of the Jedi, he would have probably been cast in the next thing for Star Wars back in the 80s, because he was a big-time actor. He was in Terminator. He was in Aliens. So,
yeah, his character was very interesting. I mean, you could just tell that he was a mercenary, and that he really wasn't like for the cause of the Empire or anything like that. I think he just got hired, and he's like, all right, I need the cash, I need the credits. I think that his kind of comedic way of doing the role was awesome. Like how he wasn't taking it like where you see most mercenaries and people like that in Star Wars where like they're super serious, but he was kind of funny, and I was like, nice.
yeah, and he had a pretty awesome space shotgun too. I don't actually think we actually saw him fire it much, but I think someone put online exactly what pieces and parts to kind of kit bash to build it. So that's out there. And the other thing too, I've noticed a lot of people think that the two creatures are Lothcats, but they're actually Tukas. I think there's like two instances where you see the that cat breed, the space cat breed out there. But yeah, they're not Lothcats, they're Tukas.
I'm really surprised because of Dave Filoni and invented Lothcats, so it made sense that would be a Lothcat.
Well, I think it's there's like subtle differences. I think they're the same. It's a different breed of cat, but I think it was confirmed. And also, of course, we didn't even talk about Morai the owl.
Yeah. So that character first appeared in the that planet that Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin go to.
They go to many planets.
Mortis.
Mortis, thank you.
Father, the son, and daughter.
Yeah. And I believe that is the incarnation of the daughter. And yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I did. Okay.
Yeah.
Some lights are going on
for me. And that character did show up in Star Wars Rebels, and there was also other scene in Star Wars Rebels, and the scene where they go to the world between worlds, and then seeing her in live action. A lot of people didn't catch it. Like, you have to kind of look up to a tree at a certain point, and you have to look to the left, like it's there for 3 seconds.
And you also hear the owl as well.
Oh, see, that I didn't know.
Yeah,
I just remember seeing it. I don't
watched
remember.
it 3 times. Why didn't you hear it?
He watched it with the sound down so you could maybe sleep.
Yeah.
He was like, just one more time.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm just trying to think of all the stuff that went down. Those. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wanted to mention one of my favorite little details that I caught was during the fight between her and I don't know that woman's name, when they're in the garden and they're fighting
the magistrate.
Yeah. She just loses one of her lightsabers, and she's just fighting with the one. And then she's kind of been fighting, I don't know the forms, but what you would call a basic frontward, but then she flips it. Mm-hmm. So how we usually see her in the Clone Wars. And you just she flips it, and the girl's face is just what is that? She was not expecting it, and that's when she wins. I just kind of thought that was a cool little detail. Kind of a
Well, yeah. Do you think that Ahsoka was holding back during that fight?
I don't know. Maybe, because when she did flip it, she definitely that's when she won.
Yeah, I think she was holding back because she needed her alive to find out where her master was. And of course we found out her master was Grand Admiral Thrawn, which was another thing that kind of pre-leaked as well.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I didn't
awesome.
read that leak. Nope. Because I was talking to Colin about this, literally when it aired. Yeah. I sent a text. I was like, yo, Thrawn. Because literally 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were talking about Moff Gideon's potential, the next person. Because we were talking about how is Moff Gideon the highest authority in the Empire, or is there a higher one? And I was like, I don't know. You guys remember Thrawn?
Yeah.
Remember him?
He could come back.
Yeah.
And then I remember Sam and Connor that's, I don't know, man. And I was like, all right, you're probably right. And then when I saw it Thursday, I was like, whoa! And my dad was sitting behind me. He was he had no idea what was going on. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, hey, Thrawn! On, and he was like, okay, but I was losing it, and I instantly texted Colin, and he was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, for the record, Matt called it.
I've been hearing about this for a while.
Yeah. And there were a lot of old public Easter eggs in there too. The droids were the HK-47. Yeah, and in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the main droids in that are the HK-47s. Right. So,
and I believe the HK stands for Hunter Killer.
Mm-hmm.
Pew.
Yeah. Yep.
What else would it stand for?
Well, the Jedi Temple that they talk about was also in the Old Republic. I forget the name of it that they talked about, where it's the temple. It's the temple that Ahsoka told them to go to.
On Tython.
Yes. Apparently, again, we don't know because in Legends that was the first temple of the Jedi, but things have changed because now they're saying that the planet that the island on Ahch-To from Force Awakens was the first temple. So I don't know if that's still true. I don't know if that's Legends. We'll have to find out at the episode, but I think that one's going to be pretty cool. And this whole season, there's been a lot of Old Republic Easter eggs, and I think it's hinting at that someday soon we will get a Old Republic kind of series or a movie or something. Because of that kind of stuff, is what the fans love. Fans love when they bring stuff that was in Legends, and now they make it canon. People love that, and Thrawn is a big example of that. People weren't expecting it, and now that he's back, like people love that character, even though he's a bad guy. So I'm not sure if you should.
He's my favorite bad guy, though.
Yeah,
like
so
he's like number one, and then but Darth Maul's number two on my bad guy list.
Okay,
because Thrawn, like he's got this demeanor about him. He's just so calm at all times, and even though he's like a bad guy, you kind of have to like him because he's just so dang cool and witty. Like his admiration for art when we first meet him in Rebels, like this guy's got a way of talking. I like the way he talks. You keep talking, Mr. Blue Man. I like the Blue Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ahsoka mentions Tython, and of course, yeah, like you said, that's a very famous now Legends planet, and he tells Din to take him to the Scene Stone and let Grogu choose his path. So the kind of speculation now, who could maybe sense him that's out there that is a Jedi that has a possibility. So of course I want Luke Skywalker to show up in some form or fashion.
I think I'd like. I mean, they.
Nothing against Luke Skywalker, but I'm kind of like the Skywalkers have like had their journey. They've done their stuff.
An whole saga.
I am ready for some new things. That's me personally. So I really hope it's not.
What if we meet like a Jedi that escaped from Order 66 and is residing there and has been since?
Yeah.
The era that we haven't met before.
Possible.
Well, that also would lead to possibly being Cal Kestis from Jedi Fallen Order.
Awesome.
I think that would be a awesome. It would be an awesome idea, and then that would probably draw more people to play the game. And so, and I feel like Sebastian Stan could play, young Luke Skywalker, but I think he could also play like an older Cal Kestis. I think he could totally do it.
Cal Kestis is a ginger.
He doesn't have a butt chin. Or does he? I don't know.
I don't know if I would pick Sebastian Stan for Cal Kestis. Like for Luke, absolutely. I've seen the comparisons and it's crazy.
Oh, well, yeah.
I think we could find much better actors for Cal Kestis. So.
Okay, well then who would you have as an older Cal Kestis?
Oof.
I don't know. I don't have the top of my head.
Is it on the bottom of your head, maybe?
No.
So yeah, there's also
I'm
also
very bad with names. Guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
and it's Cameron Monaghan, right? Who plays
Yes.
Cal Kestis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they want Cal Kestis, I just say bring him in and just age him up.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
But there is talk.
What would the age gap be like between Fallen Order and this? Like,
Can't be that far off.
Jedi Fallen Order takes place 8 years after Order 66.
okay, so he wouldn't be like too much older.
Well, there's a I think it's a 19-20 year gap between episode 3 and episode 4, and then there's a 3-year gap from.
So like around 28 years.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah. So.
All right.
So he'd be like in his mid 50s
Oh man.
or mid 40s, maybe. I don't. How old is he in the Fallen Order?
I think he's like. He is not.
20s, young 20s, mid.
Yeah.
He would probably be like just before 20 or like his early 20s. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
On the top of my head, but I'm with you, David. I think that they could bring the. I think they could. I think they could bring the actor in, but it's really interesting if they do that, because again, they didn't bring Ashley Eckstein into it, but they brought the actress who played the voice of Bo-Katan, and if they keep doing that, where they're bringing like actors who like play the characters on the TV shows or the video games and stuff, it's really interesting. And I think that I'm just really curious why they didn't bring in Ashley Eckstein. I'm very curious why.
I'm assuming they've got their reasons.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree.
I would just like to hear
Maybe
that.
Rosario was just more in shape and can do the stunts. Maybe Ashley can't. Maybe it just comes down to the
physically-wise,
abilities.
They were like, she fits it more.
I don't know.
I kind of think it's
character
the fact that
integrity. is
I think
David Filoni's main thing. So I mean, like he probably like loved Ashley next time, but he's like, you only sound like the person and somewhat look like the person. This person
Yeah.
like looks like the person, can move like the person, and somewhat sound like the person. Which one's more
Or
important to David Filoni?
or maybe what happened was Dave Filoni like wanted Ashley on there, but Jon Favreau didn't.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Yeah.
I think my theory is it just came down to the fact that a big time actress wanted to play Ahsoka Tano that bad, and then they have kind of plans for a possible spin-off series as well, and you would want someone established to take on the role.
Yeah, you need the
and
clout.
yeah, and have that. She has acting chops, obviously. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bit around.
yeah,
She likes to be around.
and she was already part of the Disney family as well. I mean, there's so many pros to having Rosario. But yeah, it is. I mean, I would really like to know the reason why Ashley Eckstein wasn't involved at all. Apparently,
Yeah.
But
I was hoping that we would get some closure on that and that post that she made, and she made a long post too.
Yeah.
But that post really just stated that this character was super important, and if you want the full experience of her, then you should watch the other shows. So I hope that we learn about it, possibly in the second season of the Mandalorian galleries, and that's also rumored to come out in January, I think. I saw.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
Christmas
Yeah.
Day. Merry Christmas.
Okay. Huh.
So we'll have something Star Wars Christmas Day to look forward to. But what I was going to say earlier, there's also speculation that it could be Obi-Wan Kenobi that shows up on Tython as a Force ghost, because the fact that Ewan McGregor was on set, they're saying he was there just for a costume fitting. He could have actually been there to shoot some scenes as well.
Well, if that does happen, that kind of, I mean, I'm just trying to process that, because of the theory goes that to see a Force ghost, you would have had to know them in person. I mean, that hasn't been stated yet if that's canon or not, but
yeah, that's the popular belief. But they'll be on a super Force sensitive planet, which is Tython, and I mean, in Legends, yeah, Tython is actually dangerous to visit if you aren't Force sensitive, which I'm not quite sure what that actually means, but
makes me want to go there more.
Right?
Yeah, and something else that I'm thinking that when they go there and they do go to the orb thing, and they do kind of call out more Jedi. It may not be just Jedi; it could be any Force wielder out there. So then maybe that might be where the Emperor, where the Emperor senses him, or some other dark Force wielder that we don't know about, which I think bringing a different type of dark side or Force wielder would be really interesting, because of the great thing about Star Wars is that we keep getting new stuff, so we could find out more Jedi survived the Order that we didn't know about, and
I would love to see that.
Yeah, and maybe some of them did not stay a Jedi. Like maybe some of them turned to the dark side, like how we saw in Jedi Fallen Order, where Cal Kestis goes to the planet Dathomir, and there's that cloaked figure, but and it turns out that he was a Jedi, but then he kind of went insane, and then he turned to the dark side. So I think that there are a lot of people that probably survived the Order that we don't know about yet, that may have turned to the dark side or kind of cut themselves off from the Force, like Luke did in The Last Jedi. And it's so great to see so many possibilities that could happen, and I think that
It's exciting.
yeah, and we're also getting more Force stuff in the Mandalorian, which I don't know if it's a good call or because of people like the Mandalorian, because it's its own thing. But now that's getting into the territory of where we're seeing familiar faces. I don't want this to be like a Skywalker thing. I want the Mandalorian to keep being its own thing.
Right.
So
do you think that like we know what's going on because we've seen Rebels and Clone Wars, but do you think the people who are more just fans of the films are starting to get turned off from the show because they're starting to bring in things that they don't understand?
I think it's a mix of that and maybe being intrigued and being like, interesting. I might have to check out the Clone Wars. I might have to check out Star Wars Rebels. Because you're right, there are people out there that do just love the films and that aren't that big of fans of like the Clone Wars and the animated stuff.
Fools.
Yeah, I agree with Colin. It feels like to me the people that didn't experience the animation are now giving it kind of a second thought. Well, maybe I should go back and watch the Clone Wars and watch Rebels, because we just get a tiny sliver of who Ahsoka Tano is. Right. And of course, to the people that don't even know that the Clone Wars and Rebels exist, they're kind of like intrigued by this character. And once, if they do research on the character, they're going to see that there's this whole big backstory and probably want to check out Clone Wars. Like I said last podcast, Clone Wars is the 6th most streaming anything in the country. So it's getting views, and it's a good thing that Disney Plus does have the streaming rights for it. So.
Right. And I'm thinking because of this episode, most likely people will be like, "Oh, Ahsoka seems cool. Wait, there's a whole show about her." Like I mean, not like exactly about her, but like that follows her story. I should go check that out. I think Clone Wars will bump up for number 6 to maybe number 5 or 4, because of the exposure that Ahsoka got in this episode. And again, she is. It's crazy to think about it, but she is one of the most popular characters in Star Wars now, and
As she should be.
And it's crazy because it used to be Luke, it used to be Leia, but now Ahsoka's up there, and it's because of the Clone Wars, and people don't realize this, but like it's more Star Wars material. It's not like its own thing. Like it's part of this. It's part of the Skywalker saga. I mean, these characters are making live action debuts. Like these characters are important. So I highly recommend watching like those shows. I mean, because they're animated, but at the same time, they like do have that movie element where like you get sucked in and you feel like you're like watching a Star Wars movie.
It doesn't feel necessarily like there are some kids shows that are just definitely made for children.
Yeah.
Star Wars Resistance.
Yeah.
So these shows they don't necessarily feel that way. They're just additions to the story, and they're really good stories, and there's actually a lot of like mature like themes and like not like R-rated themes, but like more adult things.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily feel like you're watching a children's show. It's a continuation of a Star Wars story that just happens to be animated.
Right.
I would even go further and advise parental advisory over that show. This couple of the
I'm watching it, and it's not like bloody or gory, but sometimes I'm like, if you think about what just happened, I was like, oh my god, like that guy just killed himself, or like
that
guy just jumped off the Mandalorian balcony.
Oh yeah, and something else that's great about the Clone Wars is that and Star Wars Rebels is that we kind of get the origin, like more of the origin story of the people of Mandalore, and we also learn more about the Dark Saber. The Dark Saber actually premiered in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and we see its journey like from a Mandalorian to a Force Wheeler. So and all that stuff is foreshadowed in the Clone Wars, and then you finally see it like in live action in the Mandalorian, and it's awesome that these animated shows are canon and they are connected to the movies, and it's just phenomenal how big the Star Wars universe is in the Skywalker saga. It's incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So we are left with 2 more directors that haven't directed an episode. It's Robert Rodriguez and Rick Famuyiwa. But there's 3 more episodes left.
Right.
I think Favreau maybe or Filoni direct the last episode. I know a lot of people have been saying that Filoni only directed one episode. But what do you think the next episode is going to be, and who do you think is going to direct?
I mean, I could see it being another side mission of where they are going to the planet, but then they like end up running out of gas or something, and then they hit the fuel up, and then there's some type of adventure that they have to go on some other planet that's not on Tylon. But at the same time, these last 4 episodes are the footage and stuff that we don't know what's going on. Like the first 4 episodes that were in this season, we saw like clips and stuff from the trailers. So these new episodes coming out, like the last 4 ones, including chapter 13, we never saw footage of it, and we don't know that much about it. So the whole thing's a mystery, and I love that we're making theories and stuff. Because for the first 4 episodes, we like kind of knew what was kind of going on, and we could kind of guess because we saw the footage. So the fact that we don't know like really anything unless you're on unless you work for Lucasfilm and you leak something. So I'm excited. I'm thinking that like I'm hoping by the end of the season we do see Fett one last time. I think seeing him like at least take the armor off the ship or something, and then like a foreshadows him being like the main villain for like the next season. I think that would be pretty cool.
I feel like we definitely need to see him again.
Yeah.
I actually kind of forgot he was a thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think Robert Rodriguez is actually next up for the actual side mission type episode, like you talked about, Colin. And then after that would be Rick Famuyiwa, who actually did write, I believe, an episode. I'm not sure if we have confirmation on which episode it'd have to be. It would probably be the next one or the one after that. And I think Favreau wrote the very last episode. But yeah, I mean, to me, I just keep on thinking that the very last episode, just like what we got with the Darksaber, is that last scene is going to have to be something huge at the end of season 2. And I just envision Luke Skywalker in the black, kind of off camera, kind of walk into frame, and we see the lightsaber and it cuts right there. I'm thinking it's something like that.
So okay, so here's the thing for like Luke Skywalker. I think Sebastian Stan looks like him, but do you think he could actually like do the role of Luke?
I don't know.
Actor?
I have no idea. Yeah, that's a very famous picture that has been going around of Mark Hamill from Empire
for a couple of years. Yeah.
I don't know. We do know for a fact they did cast Luke in The Force Awakens, and they never used him. They shot the footage of him fighting Vader and Bespin, Cloud City. And I think they actually went as far as having a prototype for a new action figure as well. But they decided to cut all that, which I would have thought would have made that whole Force Vision montage way better. But yeah, I mean, they could totally cast someone that's an unknown. But I mean, it's kind of having to jump into Favreau and Filoni's mind here. And what are they really fans of? What do they want to create? And
right,
we're just at a point where we kind of don't know. I mean, there's no leaks for the next 3 episodes really that I've seen. There could be something out there, but yeah, I think we're going to get something big. And just the fact that we got Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, that's like something the fans wanted and they gave it to us. And it feels like The Mandalorian is kind of like them listening to the fans and them giving us what we want to see or what we don't know what we want to see, and then they give it to us. And it's like, we wanted that. And this episode, I just love the fact that Ahsoka was the one to reveal the name of the child, Baby Yoda. So are you still going to call him Baby Yoda, or are you going to call him Grogu now?
I don't know, but I just realized
that
your name is Grogu, Lucas.
Call him Grogu because it's his name. Can we just say how cute it was anytime one of them said his name and he would just look up and
he'd be like,
that little noise? Like, he probably has not heard his name in years. Like, how would he tell anyone his name? And now people are saying his name. Like, how exciting is that? That's so cute.
Do you think that Din Djarin will keep keep calling him like kid and or the other names that he calls him and not his actual name.
I don't know. It's probably like a getting used to it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because he's been calling him "Hey kid" for so long.
Yeah. No, I and something else that I loved about this episode too is that he really was acting like a dad. Like the entire episode when Grogu and Ahsoka were talking, he just kept pacing back and forth, and then when like he used the Force to take the knob thing from him, he got excited and he's like, "Yeah, I'm so proud of you." I was just like, he's such a dad, right? Yeah, he's a proud dad.
So yeah, thinking about it just right now, I think when Grogu does something bad, Din is gonna call him Grogu. When it's just like normal every day, he's gonna call him kid or say something else.
I can see that.
Yeah, like I mean to get his like attention, he could keep calling him kid, and then it could be like in the it could be like an Indiana Jones and Last Crusade where Indiana Jones' dad like keeps calling. I know I keep referencing other stuff, but
hey, Junior.
He like keeps calling him that, and then that moment where like he's trying to reach for the cup and he says, you know, he calls him Indiana, then he like is like, oh,
kind of like a middle name effect where like if
he
hears that, he knows that he's in trouble.
Yeah, so I mean I think that we'll see. I think this episode probably brought them more closer. You could tell that when he was like getting ready to give Grogu to Ahsoka, he was sad. Like I feel like you could hear it in his voice. He's like, "All right, kid, it's time to go."
I got stressed. I was like, you should not, like, that's your child.
Yeah.
Like, you can't give him. I like literally got stressed. I was like, what are we doing? What's happening?
Think of that scene with Sully and Boo in Monsters Inc.
Oh.
They gotta say goodbye, and I'm like, this feels awkwardly familiar.
How many other things are we gonna reference in this podcast today?
Yeah. Well, so here also is another
Last
question.
Frontier.
If Grogu leaves the show, do you think that The Mandalorian will still do good?
I don't think Grogu's ever going to leave the show now. After this episode, Ahsoka revealed the connection between the two, how Grogu sees Din Djarin as a father figure. I think it's going to be the Mando and Grogu show from here on out. And
he keeps around for luck. So
yeah, that was a nice touch when he had him in the bag and then he like coos and then Michael Biehn looks at him. What is that thing? And the puppeteering too. I definitely want to mention that the look that Grogu gave him was like, ugh, like, yeah. And the reactions like Brooke talked about every time you said his name. I think the puppeteering was the best that we've seen so far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He
to get that much expression and emotion from a puppet, it's awesome.
Wait, he's a puppet?
He was also making new noises in this episode too, because I noticed that when like he wasn't getting his way or something like that, he would growl, and we never seen that either. So
very expressive in this episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get him to speak, say a word.
Well, here's another question. Do you think on the show, like eventually he will start talking, or do you think the entire time that the show is going on, he won't speak at all?
I think maybe towards the end of it all, he might sputter a word.
The very last episode, he like says his first word.
Or he says a full sentence and he can talk the entire time. He's like, you people are very annoying. Or something stupid like that. And you're like,
dun 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 dun. That'd be funny.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of speculating, will he speak like that backward speak that Yoda has? And I've heard some pretty good kind of theories on that. I kind of think that he's going to speak like Din Djarin, because he's been with them for so long and is going to be with them. So he's going to pick up those speech patterns, just like if you were born in Australia, you have an Australian accent, you know? So
makes sense.
that's my
I think that would be interesting to see him have a normal voice, though. Like they would just be hanging out one day, and he's like, "I'm hungry," and then I could just see everyone just being like,
It's
"What?
hungry I am.
That's not how you speak." So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, his name breaks the whole like Yoda species convention because it doesn't start with a Y; it starts with a G.
Yeah.
And I think people are thinking that the G name is kind of a nod to George Lucas in a way.
Okay.
Grogu Lucas name, but
Yeah.
it's interesting, the name. When I heard it the first time, I was kind of like, I don't like it, but it's definitely, pun intended, growing on me. So
I feel the same. The first time I heard it, it just reminded me of like a troll that lives under a bridge, like Grogu. Like, like it's not like a cute name. But the more I hear it, the more I am warming up to it.
Some people are saying that that it's like a spawn from Yoda and Yaddle, and I hate that theory. I think that's so dumb. I think that's so dumb. I mean, yes, it is so cool to have a third member of that species that we know now. I mean, because right now the only 3 species of the characters that we know that exist are Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu. And we still don't know what happened to Yaddle. We don't know if she died during Order 66.
Well, I was just gonna say Ahsoka didn't know who she was because she said she'd only known one species like him before.
Yeah. I mean, so after the events of the Phantom Menace, Yaddle stepped down from the Jedi Council, and Shakti took her spot, and then she like just kind of was not that. She didn't play a big role in the Clone Wars. I believe she had some type of advisor role or something like that, but like she wasn't like a big part in the Clone Wars. Like she wasn't in battles or anything, and that's why we don't know that much about her after the Phantom Menace. And the only stuff that we know is the stuff that I just said. So there's a possibility she did survive Order 66. I mean, how crazy, I'm just gonna make up a theory, and it would be really cool if it came true, or really funny. But the Jedi that shows up at the temple when they do the orb thing, it could be Yaddle, and that would be really interesting. But the reason why that she wasn't in Attack of the Clones or Episode 3 or anything like that is because of George Lucas wasn't really fond of how they did the puppets in the Phantom Menace, and it was just a lot of work. So in Attack of the Clones, like he just did a whole digital version of Yoda, and they just kind of cut her out, but they had to make it like canon, so they just kind of had Yaddle like just kind of cut her out of the story. So I'm thinking it's a possibility that maybe she might show up. But if she does, that's crazy, and that she lived longer than Yoda.
Well, if some people think that maybe the last director of this season is George Lucas, so if that's the case, I don't think Yaddle is showing up. But
who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. That's the fun thing about the Mandalorian.
Wait, so they announced all of the directors except for the last episode?
No, they announced all the directors. We just didn't know who directed what episode, except for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau.
Okay.
And Carl Weathers, of course, he kind of just announced what episode he was directing, which was Chapter 12.
Yeah.
So now all that's left is Rick Famuyiwa and Robert Rodriguez, and then a mystery director. But I think the popular assumption is it's going to be Favreau at the end. Favreau or possibly Filoni. But the fun theory is George Lucas. So there's that.
That would be interesting. I actually would love that. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
something else that we haven't talked about yet is that in chapter 12, the guy that shows up in the background where he's wearing the collared shirt and the watch. When chapter 13 came out, they actually did a re-edit because now if you watch that scene, he's gone. Yeah. He's not there anymore.
Yeah, I think he was popularly known as Gene's guy. I wanted him to be called the stage Handalorian, but I think he's Gene, universally known
stage
as
Handalorian. I don't like how well that works.
Yep. So, yeah. So Gene's guy is no longer canon, I guess.
Yep, no longer there, but of course he exists in our hearts and on pictures online.
Many screenshots on our phones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Colin, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it seems like Yaddle was destroyed by Darth Vader.
No.
It's theory. It's not like canon, but it's
no.
rumored.
I do know what you're talking about, and I thought that too. But apparently, that was in Just a Vision when Darth Vader, when Darth Vader goes to Mustafar and he gets his castle, he is seeing these visions, and there are a bunch of Jedi in the vision, and Yaddle is one of them. So it's not her in actual physical form; it's just a vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
did
okay.
Research. But yeah. I think that's everything.
I think there's a couple more things I wanted to talk about.
Never mind.
Here.
I guess it's not. All right. Well.
So yeah, I've been on Twitter, on our Twitter handle @StuffPod, and I'm following Hal Hickel, who, if you watched Gallery, he's the guy in the glasses. He's actually the director of animation for The Mandalorian, and he dropped a tweet yesterday, and it's a shocking thing here. He tweeted, "Y'all are in for a roller coaster these last 3 episodes," and he put a smiley face. So what that means, and my excitement level for the next 3 episodes has gone up a couple levels, because like you said, we don't have any footage of what's to come. We just had Giancarlo Esposito kind of talk about some stuff, and there's actually one image that exists out there. It almost looks like concept art, but it could possibly be Tython, but it's the Mandalorian, and then there's something like a space horse or a space oxen behind him, and it's like on a green planet. There's like grass, and it's like mountainous, but that's all we got. And my imagination is just kind of going crazy. But yeah, it's interesting that he made that tweet, and I go back to Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer talked about months ago that we were all going to be blown away, and I think to this point, getting Ahsoka live action, getting the Boba Fett tie-ins, it's an incredible thing right now for Star Wars fans. It's stuff that we wanted to see, and that's actually working in live action, and the story fits. There is still those rumors out there. I think they're all not from really the most credible of sources, that a Boba Fett miniseries is being cast currently. And there's actually names of people that they're trying to cast. Not well-known names, but it seems like everyone's kind of running with the same reports. And kind of goes back to what Jon Favreau said about the show being kind of trending towards what kind of Game of Thrones did, with different storylines and us following them, but them doing it with like series instead of storylines. So we'd have like a Boba Fett show, Ahsoka and Bo-Katan show, or a Bo-Katan and Cara Dune show.
Kind of like Marvel.
I'm really
the Defenders.
Yeah, I'm really
Luke Cage and stuff like that.
Yeah. Before we go, and so this past week we ended up doing a giveaway, and there are some people that did win the shout out stuff. So we would like to shout out to Noah Bankston,
Nice.
Liz Andrea, It's treason then. Chip, Blackwood, and Alyssa Sharp.
All from Instagram.
All from
You
Instagram.
guys rock.
Yes. And the person that won is, please say that for me.
Let's see here. It is
Papa Chaz.
Papa Chaz. Yep.
Yeah.
That made me.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Is that his real name or is that his handle on Instagram?
That's his handle.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that's such an interesting name.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Yes. So for the future, we'll be doing more giveaways, so just stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Keep an eye out. Follow us on Instagram. We post some cool stuff.
Twitter, Facebook.
Facebook.
So has the helmet winner contacted you guys? I know if
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's the official winner then.
Yep.
Beans.
Very excited. We're excited for him.
Yep.
Yeah, and I also want to do a shout out as well. I've been playing Battlefront 2, and
Oh yeah.
someone just random while I was playing actually messaged me and said, "Hey, I actually listen to you guys, and can I join you?" And his name was Alex, and we played. I think we played a round. I think he had to go, but yeah, we talked about Star Wars, and he talked about the Jedi episode, Chapter 13. And yeah, it was fun. And if anyone wants to join us in the future, I know Colin and I play a lot of Xbox now, and I just got a Series X, so I've been trying to play as much as possible. So yeah, shout out to Alex.
I would like to play more of the game mode they have on there. It's called Ewok Hunt. It is very.
You love Ewok Hunt.
It's very intense.
Kind of terrifying.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah,
I've just never watched, but I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, the way the game mode goes is that there's like a bunch of stormtroopers, and then there's one Ewok, and that's how it starts. And then if an Ewok kills you, then you become an Ewok, and then it just keeps going until the shuttle lands, and then you have so much time to get to the shuttle before you get attacked by an Ewok.
It's like Call of Duty's version of Infected, except for it's in the dark.
Yeah, so I do highly recommend it. It's pretty cool, and David and I will start playing more. So if you guys are interested, please send us a message, email us.
You will learn to fear the Ewok.
The Ewok, the dark side.
That was.
But yeah, is there anything we missed?
There's one story that came out that it's almost like a pseudo spoiler, but
Okay.
I think it's okay if we talk about it.
Okay.
So Sasha Banks did an interview where she stated that her only appearance this season was going to be in Chapter 11, but that doesn't mean that her character is not going to appear in the future this season because have someone in the helmet. But yeah, that is official from her. So, and yeah, that's it for me. If you guys got anything else,
nothing popped up on the Max Rebo on the Max Rebo radar except on the Star Wars show when Carboni said that for the parade that the people in the band would dress up as Max Rebo. Other than that, nothing appeared.
Okay. Matt, you got anything?
What does that mean? They just paint themselves blue and wear diapers?
That's the dream.
Dream? Dream?
All right, you got anything, Matt?
No, man. I especially not after that.
Just the visuals.
Yeah. Ooh.
So yeah, you can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. We're on TikTok, of course, Twitter. We're on there a lot more now at Stuff Pod. Instagram, of course, Colin and Brooke, they're always posting. And of course, Facebook. We have a Facebook page and we have a group where we share all kinds of now no longer Baby Yoda memes, but yeah, Grogu memes now. And I think the moratorium on spoilers is going to be up tonight, so we can talk more about the episode amongst each other. And for Colin, Brooke, Matt, I'm David. May the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.
Rest in peace, David Probst.